Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, and welcome to Conscious Talk Radio, and I'm your host, Linda Summers, and we've got a great show for you today. Our topic is a guide to tell us what to expect in 2016 with Sarah Renee. And before we bring Sarah on board, I'd like to give you a little bit of background information about her. Sarah is a psychic medium, which means she has been given the gift from God to connect with the other side. Sarah brings through messages from people who have died as well as from a higher consciousness that she refers to as the guide. Sarah has helped thousands of people find closure, clarity, peace of mind, and their purpose. She has served a diverse range of people from powerful CEOs, entrepreneurs, and celebrities to firefighters, law enforcement, stay-at-home moms, troubled teens, young kids who have lost siblings or parents, ex-cons who are trying to get back on their feet, and everyone in between. She is currently based out of sunny San Diego. She specializes in two types of readings. One is when she connects with the dead. Sarah brings through messages from her clients, loved ones on the other side in order to validate that this is, in fact, them, and to bring much-needed closure and peace of mind. She also specializes in more of a spiritual coaching format where she brings through messages from the guides in order to help get people in touch with their purpose, find happiness, and live their best lives possible. She has single-session rates as well as package deals. And with that, I'd love to welcome Sarah to the show. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Linda.
Thank you so much for being on the show. I greatly appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what messages come through.
Yes, and so anybody that wants to call in and you have a question for Sarah, please call in at 347-850-8423, and she will get those questions answered for you. So I'm really excited, too, because this is such perfect timing. We're still in the beginning of a new year, and this is supposed to be a really powerful year, and so this is really exciting, like, to find out what's really going to happen here. But before
it is exciting.
Before we do that, I want to kind of ask you, like, how you got into being a psychic medium. If you can give us a brief intro as to how that all happened for you, that would be great.
Sure. So basically, like, when I was little, I kind of just always knew things were there and had some experiences with the other side, but it freaked me out because I was just a kid. And so I grew up like most children do, and I grew out of it. And then when I was a teenager, I was just really sensitive to other people's energies, and, I would get feelings and stuff like that, and I didn't really understand what was wrong with me. I thought it was kind of like this weird curse or something. And then when I was 19, I went to an astrologer who's also a medium, and she was the one who actually explained my abilities to me and helped me start to master them. And, I stayed in resistance with it still for a couple years, back and forth, but then finally I totally embraced it, and teaching yoga and doing energy healing work with people, messages started to just come through and just flow. And so I just started to, deliver what I was getting to people, and found it to be pretty, accurate and really resonate with them. And so I just started doing readings, more and more, until it turned into this full-time gig. Here I am.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry. I think my phone cut out.
Oh, okay. Well, what I was going to say is, it's to people that are listening, either now or after the show as well, that, there's a lot of people out there who probably have the same thing as you, where they were thinking, oh, my gosh, like, okay, am I crazy? Is this really happening? Or what do I do with this? And they kind of push it aside and forget about it until years later, or they may never recognize it because they don't have that, person or, an avenue to go to be able to say, I don't know what's going on, and I don't know what this all is, or, what I should do with this. So I think this is a great opportunity for people who are listening, that if they have this ability to be able to know that, no, tap into this, don't ignore it.
Exactly. And it's like the sooner you embrace it and learn how to protect yourself, and how to stay in the peaceful energy with it, and how to like clear other people's. Like I get a lot of empaths that come to me, or people who just think that they're totally screwed up and they have anxiety or addictions, depression and that sort of thing, and they're like picking up on everyone else's emotions. And so, I tell them, no wonder you're anxious. If you're feeling like 20 people's emotions and problems and stuff like that throughout the day, anyone's going to be anxious. And so, I like to help people who are dealing with like what I struggled with, and help them learn how to manage it. And, even if they don't use their abilities to do like readings like I do, like you can still help. I still believe that people who are given these abilities can use them in their everyday lives to just help make the world a better place.
Absolutely. Well, and you mentioned something about when you were talking about sharing your story, is that something was wrong with you, and I think that's another good thing that you're saying too, is there's really nothing wrong with you at all. You have this ability,
Absolutely.
right? Because we go into that place of feeling like, oh my gosh, there must be something wrong with me, and there really isn't.
Exactly, and you feel so different. And so then I think especially, for everyone a little bit, but especially younger people, I speak to a lot of teenagers and stuff like that, and, that's another passion of mine, because when you feel different, you feel kind of screwed up and stuff. And so I like to tell people, like, no, it's actually, you can learn to view it as a gift and, use it for good instead of carrying it around like a burden.
Absolutely. Well, so now, because you do two types of readings, so you also talk with people that have passed as well, and so you bring in the communication with that. So did you know that when all this was happening, or did that just kind of did that happen first, or how did it kind of evolve, or did it evolve, or did it just, how did that play?
When I was little, I had scary paranormal experiences, and so I would see like ghosts and that kind of thing, and it really freaked me out. And then I would just kind of get a sense, like I remember when I was 5, my grandmother passed away, and I knew that she was not going to leave. I told them, even though we got the call from the hospital that she was gone, I made my parents take me down there because I knew that her soul was waiting there for me to go say goodbye. And then I guess I sat and I held her hand, and when I saw her soul leave her body, I said, okay, like, we can go. She's, she's gone now. It's okay. And so that was that's the biggest one that stands out for me. But yeah, basically I was doing, and when I started, bringing through people who've passed on with clients, I was doing some energy work with a girl, and kind of just giving her like more intuitive guidance from the guides, and I was at a point where I wanted to stay in that realm, and I didn't really want to communicate with people who had passed away. I was still kind of in that resistance space, and one of her loved ones came through, and he just wouldn't leave, and he had like this really big energy, and he was just like, no, you're gonna tell her what I have to say, whether you want to or not. And I'm like sitting there in my head, and I'm like, oh, she's going to think I'm crazy. Like, I don't even know. I could be crazy. I don't even know if this is right. And finally I just was like, fine. And I told her what I was getting, and it all really resonated for her. And her and I still, keep in touch. That was several years ago. And we still both laugh about that moment, because I was just like, I don't normally do this, but. And,
right.
After that, I think when I learned that I could bring to people from the other side who were in a good place, and it wasn't dark and scary, and like low energy, where I could stay in a positive place with it, that was when I was like, okay, if this is really what, God wants me to do, like, and it can feel like this, like a good energy, then I will do it.
Exactly. Well, and I've had the experience with you, not with ones that have passed, but in my own personal life. And for anybody listening, I have to say, when I had my first reading with you, I was like, wow, like there's no way you could have known some of the things that you had said. There was just no way. And so, it's just been great for me because it's like, oh my gosh, I got to, call up Sarah, and kind of ask her. So now you have this Tuesday party going on too, which we'll talk about. But I'm sure people are probably going, okay, let's get on with this. Let's tell us what is to expect in 2016. So this will give them a taste of really how you do what you do. And so let's dive in and just start this process. And I'll just maybe ask them questions as they arise. When I get the questions to ask, I'll ask questions as well. So
perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Help keep us on track. And so kind of what I was, before we even started, I was just asking the guides to kind of send all messages through me with the intention that everyone listening, and listening even to the replay of this, will get something that they need to hear. And so that's kind of how I run my group readings. I just set that intention that, whoever's reading, listening to this or reading a post or whatever it is, resonates. It gets to everybody that it needs to. So
beautiful.
So if you are listening to this, something will be in here for you. And so kind of where they wanted to start with was last year was a lot of letting go. And the thing about letting go when we are here having human experiences, we don't like to let go, right? Sometimes we do, but a lot of time it's challenging because we don't necessarily love change. And so last year was hard for a lot of people. There were, a lot of people were feeling blocked. A lot of relationships ended. People passed away. People lost jobs, that kind of thing. And so last year seemed to be a lot of confusion, loss, and just feelings of blocked, unable to move forward. And so what they're saying is this year now, it's finally time for us. It's okay, that's done. It's time for us to move. And it's actually perfect that we're doing this now in February because what they were saying is January was really and I know a lot of stuff was going on with the planets with Mercury retrograde and just the full moon, and it was craziness, right?
Yeah.
And they were saying January was almost wrapping up last year because a lot of us were still kind of clinging on to these blockages. And so they really, January was just okay, you guys need to get with the program now. This, and kind of repositioning us or making us go through our emotional stuff, to get ready to move forward. And so now, I've really just gotten the feeling of the New Year's here. I feel a month late, but they're saying now it's time to put the work in, and it's time to, work on ourselves inside because our external reality always reflects our internal state. But also take the physical action to get to where we want to go, because right now it's the energy is very supportive of action. And so if we are willing to do our part, our angels, our guides, God, the universe, whatever you want to refer to it as, a power greater than us is going to support us in those actions. And so when we combine kind of that greater power with our own actions, that's when it's magic happens. That's when opportunities just work. And so they're also saying too, because it's such a balance of co-creation, and I know the past few years, law of attraction has been a big conversation, and I absolutely believe in law of attraction. But what they're saying is we're coming into a time of, we almost got too far in, the control in the law of attraction, and, I'm going to, manifest this, and I'm going to manifest that, and, just wanting kind of what we wanted. And so what they're saying is this year is a year to come back into balance of taking responsibility and, yes, working on creating what we want to create, but also taking some time out to, check in and be like, is this really, is this what God wants for me? Is this, what the universe wants for me? And to, like, bring, like, our higher powers, like, will for us in alignment with our actions, with our manifestation and our visualization, because that's going to put us in, like, such extreme momentum. It's like when we're in alignment with that higher power, with the other side. I like to use all different terminologies because I don't like people to get too freaked out by one particular term. It's like whatever works for you, like that's perfect. And so, and what they're saying too, like one thing that you can do is you can just ask, like, okay, like what does my God want for me? Like, and even if you don't have like a perfect vision of like this certain job or this certain, person or a certain place, even if you're still confused about that, ultimately they're saying like, your God wants you to be happy and healthy and feel good and feel loved and feel like you're, doing good here in this life, like you're serving others. Mm-hmm. And so even if you can just focus on like that broad, like, okay, like I don't know what the heck I'm going to be doing, but I know that this is what it's going to feel like, and I know it's going to be somewhere in this range because I know, that that's what the other side wants for me. And so you visualize that and work on manifesting that, and then you'll start to get the little clues. I call them breadcrumbs. It's like following the breadcrumbs all the way there, and you just kind of go step by step and follow each clue that you're given. And so you're doing the action. It's not all just going to, happen overnight, but you're combining that with, with your intuition, with the messages from the other side. Mm. And so that's what I get. Like this year is just a lot about action, and it's a lot about finding that balance of like our responsibility as well as leaning on the other side and bringing in our intuition into our decision-making process, and like really checking in, like, is this right for me? Is this in my highest and best good? I know it makes logical sense, but is it really right? Does it feel right? I think last year too. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, finished it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Last year too, they're saying a lot of people had to learn the tough lessons of making logical choices versus, following their gut instinct on things. And so they're really saying, and there must be somebody listening that this is going to resonate with because they're really stressing this. So they're saying if you made mistakes last year, check in and be like, did I make this mistake because maybe I didn't listen to my gut feeling or my intuition or my body or whatever, maybe did I make this choice because it was logical or because my mind wanted it to work? And, like, don't beat yourself up over it. That's what they're saying. Like, let it be done. Let it be in last year. Like, learn your lesson, and be like, okay, like, I made this decision because it made the most financial sense, and it didn't work. So this year, I'm actually going to follow my gut, and I'm going to see how that works out. Or, did I choose this person, and spend most of my year in this relationship because it made logical sense and we were a perfect match, on paper, or because everyone else liked this person, and then now, I'm heartbroken or miserable or whatever. And so then it's like, just don't have to be hard on yourself, but just like look at that and be like, okay, well, my next relationship, I'm going to listen to my, is this in my highest and best good?
Right. Well, and don't you feel like we can, if we really check in and if we look back on our relationships, if that old relationship or whatever, we really had that sense that, I mean, I can speak for myself, that it was like, oh, yeah, there's no, I knew it. Intuitively, I knew it, but yet I was still trying to hold on. And that was for my own process, right? So I knew, but, not until a while afterwards that I was like, oh, wow, okay, I really need to let that go. And actually, that's what I did last year. I did let go. So it was interesting that you said that. Perfect. I love that. That about letting go. So last year was really was about letting go. And, the question kind of comes to me is, okay, 2015 was letting go. 2016 is about co-creating. Why is it now? Why couldn't last year, 2015, be the year that we start co-creating, and 2014 was the year to let go?
Yeah, like, why does it happen when it happens? And, they really say it's there's a lot of different pieces to that. And so, I'm sure, I'm not too versed in astrology, but I'm sure the planets have something to do with it. Things just kind of, they say, like, when the stars align, things happen. But also it's, the thing is, like, we always have free will, right? So because of that, certain things seem to come in waves, like when we're ready for them as a collective. And so it's like you might not feel ready to let go, or like maybe a lot of people that I got a lot of people that didn't feel ready to let go last year. And but something higher than them knew that they could do it. Whereas in 2014 they couldn't have made it. They couldn't have, they would have fallen apart, or they would have, they wouldn't have learned their lesson, or they would have just clung on and it would have just, like, beat them up, like, it's like it would have hurt too much. And so last year they're saying, like, okay, like, you all, like, you're ready to let go now. And, and I think that's why some of it was wrapping up in January, because I know, some people weren't quite ready to let go last year, and they were trying to just, they were feeling like they should break up with someone, and instead they said yes and agreed to marry them. And then, January it all fell apart, or like some secret came out or something happened. And because it's really like, they're like, okay, like, you're ready, you can do this, you can let go and you will be okay. Like, if you just trust that somehow it's all going to come together, by the end of this year, by the end of 2016, so many people are going to be in, like, such drastically different places in their life. It's going to be just incredible. Like, I'm so excited to see what happens, because it feels like, love is a big theme this year too. A lot of people are going to find their person. So I just want to so that's exciting in and of itself, because so many people come to me for relationship stuff, and so many times over the past, 2 years, I've had to be like, I like do this to work on it and do this to work on it, but, like, I don't see it coming right now that's, like, super long lasting. And, like, finally they're saying 2016 is, like, it's the year for love. It's the year for us to heal our money issues. And to really, like, find happiness doing what we're doing. A lot of people are changing jobs, but it's like, you don't have to be, like people feel, like, because they're also saying, like, your purpose might not be, like, what you do for a living, but it might be how you influence or how you impact the people that you see every day at work. Or it might be raising your children, to be, maybe they're going to go change the world, or what you, give out in the community just by being out talking with people. It's, it doesn't always look like a career path. But they're saying, like, they really are wanting people to really just, like, let go of the pressure this year and, like, really enjoy their life and, like, stop trying to make it look like something that they think it should be, and, like, allowing things to happen that's perfect for them, and allowing their life to come into alignment for them, and whatever is meant to be for each one of us. So I'm feeling like everyone listening to this should try to make it a regular thing, like even if it's just 3 times a week for, like, 10 minutes, if you just sit and you just check in with yourself and just, like, so you can pray to, whatever you believe in, You can even just ask yourself, like, am I moving in the direction that's in my highest and best good? Or, angels, am I taking the action steps that I need to be taking to, live my best life? And just get quiet for a couple minutes and just, like, feel into your body and just see, like, what that feels like for you. And does it feel true, or does it feel like maybe you're not moving in that right direction? I feel like they're just wanting to urge people to really check in and kind of, like, bring their intuition into their daily lives, is what they're saying, like, more often.
Mm-hmm. Definitely agree. Well, that's what I was going to ask you, is what can we do as humanity to be able to really step into this new year of change, and what I heard you say was really following your intuition, really feeling and really tapping into your own feelings and get it out of your head, balance and love. And, of course, when we really come from our heart, we know that the heart is the truth. It really guides us. And so if we can come from that space, it just seems like it'll be a much better year for everyone. It's something
exactly.
About balance. And, I feel like last year and all years previous were about me, I. And what I heard you saying, it was more about, it's about what can I do for the world. And I think that's really important, that when we step out of our own space, and we really look at how can I be of service to the world instead of making it really about ourselves. And I feel that's really kind of what they're saying is the balance of co-creation and asking us to just ask, how can we be of service? I love that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite stories that I don't know why I'm being called to share this, but it's Wayne Dyer speaks about it. I'm sure, everyone can find it in one of his talks, but he talks about a man who was depressed, and so he calls up, I think it's a counselor or someone, I forget who it is, but he calls this guy up, and he's like, I'm going to kill myself. I'm so depressed. And the guy tells him, okay, is there anybody that you can go help right now? And he, goes, he's like, no, whatever. Anyways, finally thinks of this an elderly woman, like, downstairs who's, like, stooped. He can, front, right in front of her front door has a bunch of leaves or something, and so he can go, like, sweep that up for her. And so the guy tells him, okay, go do that. And then when he comes back, he feels better. He doesn't feel like killing himself anymore. And what the guides say a lot, because I get a lot of people dealing with depression that come to me for help, is that when we can focus on that, how can I serve others? Like, it takes us out of our stuff. It takes us out of that, like, they're showing me, like, we can almost be in, like, this, like, jail cell of our stuff, our insecurities, our fears, our, like, all that. We all have it. I mean, it doesn't matter how spiritually evolved you are. We all have stuff. And so sometimes we have to, we have to just snap ourselves out of it and just go, like, think about someone else or something else, even for a second. And then they're saying what that does is it takes us out of that, like, that example of the jail cell. It gets us on the other side of the bars. And so then when we turn around to look back at our stuff, we're outside of that cell, so we can be in a more powerful place. And so that then we can take action to, like, deal with it instead of just, like, being overcome by it.
Wow, I love that. So perfect. That's so true. Well, we're just about at the end. So what is one thing that you or the guide can share with our listeners that can make all the difference in the world, maybe on your journey that's made a difference on, or that the guides really want to just give this one last message just to really end this show in a way that it just really shifts the perspective of people?
They're really saying to ask for help because all right, and I mentioned free will earlier. And this is something, too, that I practice regularly, but it's coming through from them that this will make such a huge difference for the listeners. And because of free will, they cannot, our angels, for lack of a better word, our angels, cannot intervene unless we give them permission. And so that is like the biggest thing that people are struggling with, is they feel so alone, but it's, they're not asking for help and they're not allowing help to be given. And so a simple exercise that you can do is like write, because so many of us just think it's like when we actually write stuff like with a pen and paper, something triggers in our brain that actually like it's really like getting it out of our bodies and out of our minds and onto the paper. And so they're saying to write a letter like, dear God, dear angels, dear Jesus, dear, like St. Michael, dear whoever, dear universe, if none of that other stuff works for you. I need your help dealing with, this relationship, dealing with my family, dealing with my money, whatever it is. You can like list out a million things if you want. All of the stuff that's bothering you and that's weighing on you, put it in that letter, put it on that list, and just be like, please help me. I give you permission to intervene on the behalf of my best good. And so when you say that, you can say it out loud, you can write it in this letter. I give you permission to intervene on the behalf of my best good. That allows them to really, come in and work on your life and to really help you and give you steps and, create opportunities. And then you have to kind of let it, visualize it all working out, but like also like let it go. Like let them don't worry about the how, because the angels can create things like opportunities in ways that we would never think of. And so, just remember that. Like just hand it over and be like, okay, like I'm going to do my part and follow the signs, but like I'm giving it to you. Because what they're saying is so many people get overwhelmed, and that's going to help with the overwhelm of all of this. And so it's really going to take that pressure off. And so that, I think, I feel like will make a huge difference for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And what a great help. I love it. It's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for being on the show. We greatly appreciate having you on here, and the guides. We thank them for giving us all this beautiful information and really of where to go and how we can actually do that. And, people can go back and listen to this over and over and really get this really kind of embedded in them as to really following their own intuition and the balance and feeling and all of that. So we thank you so much. It was really wonderful.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you for all the listeners out there who joined us today and the ones that will be joining us via YouTube. We thank you so much. Please don't forget to follow, subscribe, comment, and like us. And you can join me next week, February 11th, for the next show, The Wake Up Call with Vera Ingborg. So with that, thank you again, Sarah, and all the guys. We really appreciated today and all this beautiful information.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.